Peace, 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 peace to everyone. Welcome to another broadcast of In the Circle Ministries, where I'm your host, Rico Blakeney, and this is our virtual YouTube ministry where we spread our ministry through the great world of technology and through the YouTube channel here. Where we take things and we put them up under a microscope. We take our plural eyes and make them singular so as our body be full of light. So in another words too, as you hear me go over the time and time again in the videos, you may hear this same thing change up a little bit, but they're all the same. Different ways and perspective of seeing it and understanding it. But once we come into our mind with our thoughts, we're able to take logic. Then once we use logic, we reason with the things that are inside of the logic. And then we come away with our answer or we come away with a decision. Most of the times in life, we take things from a very photogenic out of our two eyes, out of our physical eyes, or out of a lower vibrational or the carnal mindset at viewing things. 99.9% of the times, out of those positions and out of those places, we're operating out of emotions, and then we're trying to make logic and for the reason of the emotional behavior. you know so think about that for a moment as well. So whenever we do things inside of our head and inside of our mind, we take things and we put them up under a microscope by making our plural eyes singular, and with that, things are magnified. They're blown up, and you're able to see things on a cellular level or a very small level, so you can see more things in there by it being blown up. You can see more of what's actually what. For an example, like I did in the other video, a mechanical workings of it, all the inner parts and all the things of it. Just like with a motor on a car, most time you get in the car and just crank it up, and if you're not mechanically inclined, you don't know about all the things that it takes for the car to run. No, starters, alternators, carburetors, um, excuse me, carburetors, um, ignition switches, sensors, and all those other things still are not a part of the motor. The motor has its own inner workings. Those things go on top of the motor that assist and get things going, so that the motor and the mechanical parts can actually about almost run on autopilot. Even though they're not on autopilot, they don't run on autopilot. You got your spark plugs in your wires, you got your gas, you got your airflow. So real quick, that's just a basic um, thing that you're going to have for the car or gasoline cars to run, that are combustible engines to run, is a spark, air, and gas. And so you have your pistons in your rod, you have your cam, you have your crankshaft, and all those things that your pistons and your rods and your lifters and your valves and all those things work on, that move around while the pistons in the rod move. They move these things here, and your spark plugs are at the top. You have your intakes bringing in your gas and your air. And as the spark plug sparks, it creates the flame or the burst or the explosion that push the pistons and pull the pistons back down, and so everything works that way. So these things here are what happens once the starter, the alternator, and all these other things do their job or whatever, the motor still has to run. So a lot of times if you're not mechanically inclined, then you're not able to fix whatever is wrong with the car. You may be able to tell someone that knows more about the car, the symptoms of the car, or what the car is doing, and someone's mechanically inclined can help you do that. But when we do that with our self mastery, is in the same thing as taking our automobile or taking our whole automobile into our eyes and focusing on whatever the symptoms are, focusing on a certain area and finding out all the mechanical parts that goes with it and everything that it's consistent with what it does to make it work and what it does after it works, and what is affected after it works, what's affected while it's working, etc. Things of that nature. So as in its simplest form, even though sometimes it may seem like a lot of things, but they're not. It's just in the simplest form. When you do those things, when I do those things, I'm able to come away with a clear answer. I'm able to come away with a decision that I can go put to practical use and see if I get the results that I know or think and believe that I should get. And 99.9% of the time, they're correct. Okay, so with that, you know, concept of taking plural eyes and making them singular, there's also things that we do in my walk, I guess you would say, or my spiritual self mastery. As I grow into that, that is the concept that I take with everything. And there's a lot of things that I see, and a lot of things that involves or entail that sometimes it may get hard to describe this innocent experience. As you work on yourself, there are certain things that come up and that you have to be able to react in a way. And so what I've learned about that too as well is that being able to react in a way whereas you can always use logic and then reason, unless it's something that you already know, that it doesn't take logic or reason. You already know what it is. It's like stoves are hot if they're turned on. You don't put your hand in fire. Uh, if you can't swim, you don't need to get in the water till you learn to, or while you're in the process of learning. However, whatever, there's certain things you don't have to worry about because you already know that's the right response for that thing. Going beyond common sense. But a lot of times, what I'm speaking of when I speak of the spiritual nature or how I deal and focus with my self mastery is it just not only my interaction with myself, but my interaction with everyone else. So that causes me a lot of times to, um, you know, have different interaction with people and understanding people, and being able to not only talk to a certain individual or deal with an individual, be able to sympathize, empathize, and have uh, wise conversations outside of experience in those situations, maybe, or just being able to be open enough to be able to use logic and reason, um, and not have to worry about disrespecting them or judging them or looking at them in a different manner, all because of the way they may believe, think, or how they feel. The same things that I desire in return. But so that's what the whole ministry is, a whole way of life, and a way about going through an experience of freedom that I've experienced with the way that I live. And when I speak of the way that I live, I mean the way my thought process is, and just how I work, how my inner workings are, and how I will display those things. Say I've always been good people, kind hearted, good and friendly, as some would call. Uh, you know, always always speaking on the trying to make everyone feel good about themselves in a sense. Um, Whenever I come around people, the room lighten up when I come around. It's gonna be an enjoyable moment. We're gonna have a good time, and we're gonna enjoy ourselves no more just in this plain conversation. So the energy that uh I put off make people want to be around me. And same reason that energy I put off, some people don't want to be around me because sometimes it exposes or allows certain things in areas where people are not ready to face or deal with or refuse to deal. But nevertheless, um, I got on today to make this podcast, and oh yeah, check out the flowers. I do a lot of my videos to use the back screen, except a couple of them that I use. I uploaded from other places, but the flowers and things like you see of that nature are some of my own personal flowers and photos I take in my yard. Like use them for the background because that's part of my peacefulness as well. Um, and I think they're beautiful, and it adds a peaceful background or peaceful setting, and real beautiful. Add color, liveliness to it as well. So I got on to do more so of the conclusion of the or a conclusional recap of um, keys and unlocking the Bible with the entire book of the Enoch, from the Watchers to the parables. And as you read from it, and as I spoke about in other videos, if you read along with me, or if you get to read it or do more research on it, or when it was written or whatever, you'll find out, there's other books. There's two other books that consist of more books. Now, the ones that I read, I showed earlier in the older videos of Keys to Unlocking the Bible. In the books of Enoch, I showed the table of contents. So there's like 3 or 4 more books I didn't continue to read into it for the purposes of the Keys of Unlocking the Bible. It wasn't to go too great in depth with Enoch, but to give out enough information. But you found out earlier that a lot of the things in Revelations and a lot of the uh, concept of heaven and hell and um, of the rapture, for to speak, not say the rapture, but yeah, say the rapture, and also about the end time. You're gonna hear those things first that was written or copied or rewritten from the Book of Enoch. This is where you get your first mentioning from, and this is where most of the scholars got have their data and their information that too as well. So most of them agree with that. That a lot of the writings that we have that we hold today into a different doctrination and a whole different thing, on a whole different belief pattern or whatever. It's not just as authentic as most time we would believe. That's why we do the Keys to Unlocking the Bible, putting out a bunch of information so as you can make a informed decision yourself outside of being given a shrunken down, consistent point of view and a focal point of seeing, um, giving you a broader scope of information if you want to search as well or partake in it as well. But a lot of things you're going to hear or that is written or that's in the Bible or written in the New Testament. I'm gonna start saying this too, the NIV and the New Testament, because a lot of this information before there was a Bible, the Book of Enoch. And before there was a Bible, it was the priestly hood account of Genesis, from Genesis 1 down up to Genesis 2 and 4. And then you would have the other Mosaic standard or whatever, um, from Genesis 2 and other and on up. And then like you have different books of Isaiah that wasn't, it wasn't quote built together like that. It's a bunch of different events, bunch of different individuals, bunch of different thoughts, opinions, writings for people in different timelines, geographical, political, or whatever situations and locations. Those writings were written to those individuals in those time period. It was never written to this for in the future. Those that it was written for and lived, died, and gone on, however, whatever, but not to get too deep into that. But nevertheless, um, there's a lot of things that we'll have from what most people would say from the King James 1611 and on up, things that was written, and we've always been taught, and you'll be always taught that it is all one univocal word, and it's all the same word of God, and it's not contradiction, and it's all of it is true. So, you know, doing more research and doing more understanding, finding more understanding and searching out things, um, is what it was all about. So in that, I wanted to bring that point out about a bunch of the other things that you will hear about the Son of Man. And also, if you listen to it outside of from the creation story in Genesis all the way up to the flood area, the book of Enoch covers all of that. And if you listen to it or if you understood it, you will see that he was talking about, for like I say, now this is me and my personal understanding of what I got out of it. Now, it's not concrete, but something that stands out to me that I'm going to hold for a belief and try it until I find out it is not. That Noah was the one that was the son of man that was hidden from the beginning, whose name was hidden. If you continue to read in the same link that I shared, the book of Enoch, we can get to the book of Noah. It talks about how magnificent he was when he was born. Everybody thought he was an angel or some other thing. He was white and red and had locks that was white as snow. And then when his eyes opened, the whole house lit up as if the sun was in the house. So that's the what was it when Christ when Christ was born? That's on the starts with miraculous birth of Christ, or the, something like that. But the word starts with an M. And so anyway, see that as being Noah, as being the one that sit on the throne, who in a sense, if you what I was seeing in there, like he was sitting on the throne of the glory of the Father, or not. They didn't even say the Father; it said the Lord of Spirits. And then you had other guys or other lords in different positions, and one higher than the Lord of Spirits. But anyway, he was able to watch all the evil doers and all the kings of the earth and all the wicked of the earth. He was able to watch all of them go away in the great flood. Uh, all the fallen angels, or the angels, the Bible call them fallen angels, but these angels here who decided and made a pact to come down to sleep with mankind and teach mankind all type of other stuff, Azael and all those angels, they was punished and killed and destroyed at that same time, and that great time of punishment that the book of Enoch talks about. All that happened before the flood. And down to the last parable, or the third parable, was explaining more about how, even the same way it talks in the Bible about God, or the Lord of Spirits, repented that he even made man and promised that he would not do it again. So he set a covenant. It didn't say a bow in here, but it says in the Bible, it talks about a bow, the rainbow. He puts in the sky as a covenant that he would never destroy the earth and all mankind again uh, through flood. But in here, it said that he repented, he did that, and Noah was saved and his kinfolk. And after that, supposed to be the ever living in life of the kingdom of heaven. From that point, from Enoch's point of view, so I can understand why Enoch is only mentioned in small parts. Like I said, that is just my thought and my opinion. That's why he's only mentioned a small part and never spoke about it in detail. Because if you do, it would destroy a lot of the doctrination and the dogma and the teachings that we've been taught about. God, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. God, Christ, and the rapture, and the end of the world, and the second and third death that's supposed to be coming, and the death of the dragon, the seven-headed dragon, um, and things of that nature. So all these things have already taking place according to Enoch, and he was able to see a lot of other things and to see past that point. But anyway, so um, it just to me, that just, I ain't hear nobody else really say it like that, or bring it up like that, or speak about it like that, or even make mention of it. But I can say that when I did watch the book of Noah, or the movie about Noah, whenever the guy that played in the movie Gladiator, in the old original Gladiator, he was the white guy that was fighting, or the actor that was fighting. Um, so he played Noah, and it showed the Nephilims, or the so-called fallen angels that was condemned to the rocks and the stones, and the stone bodies, helping him build the ark and to build the shelter for his local animals, so as he can get ready for the flood. And they knew their damnation, so it kind of plays into how they were showing how the Watchers had a communication with Enoch, and giving a visual scene to whereas, like, here's a plausible, or here's another perspective to think about it. They was actually like communicating this way too, and this is how it was happening. So there's a lot of things in there, and it talks about the demons upon the earth and all these other things. So I would say go read it and check it out for yourself. If nothing else, read it for good literature. Anything else you read, if you was raised up in your religion, or raised up in your tradition, or you join one, or whatever it may be, and if you're not associated with any of those things, be able to disassociate your mind while you read the literature, and read the literature for what it is. That's what all the scriptures, manuscripts, all the tablets, or stone writings, the hieroglyphics, that's all that they are, literature. So read them for what they are, so as you can receive whatever it is to receive. But I thought that was pretty cool, and I still think it's pretty cool. It's another observation, like I said, to think about, because I've always thought too, what if everything has already happened? What if everything we've been taught and preached to is already happened and took place? What if we're waiting on Christ to come back and that's already happened? What if it's coming back, and or whatever, all those other thoughts and things that I had, that through my belief and my dogma and the way I was taught in perspective to see and understand the word, wouldn't allow me to do that. They had me lying and renegotiating in my own and putting my own thoughts and ideas on what actually I read. So that's a mistake, and the thing I got free from, and the freedom that I speak about brings about peace, love, and prosperity, and all these other things too. So um, continue to work on your self mastery, continue to grow, and as we get more into more literature, I think before I get back into the Bible, I may crack this open and we run down to here before we get back into the scriptures and do whatever. Because to be honest, I don't have the software, and I'm not at the point where I've got savvy enough to do everything. And some sites cost more money than others, and I can't share screen and do a bunch of stuff like that. I like to bring stuff and show it to you. But anything that I say or do whatever, you should be able to Google to research it. You should be able to Google to search it from the Bible, or either Google search it to lead you down the path to where to find it. And if you can't, that's what we got in the comment section at the bottom of the videos for. You can come in and ask for it and help search, and I help do what I can to help you get to where I got it from, but you can do your own research as well. But this one better free you and help. I'm not gonna say free you, help point you in the direction of you freeing yourself, because you're already on that mission, and you're the only one to free yourself. You're the only one to save yourself. You're the only one to kill yourself. You're the only one to destroy yourself. You're the only one that can defile yourself. Any of those things. If you got that simple moral concept from a place where I came from a biblical background, is that all these actions are all upon man, and man is able to do these things. So I'm here to help redirect you and to tell you that if you're a God and you live in that God consciousness, and to elevate your mind to a higher consciousness, then you are free for those things. Christ says that I overcome the world. So in this mindset, he was able to overcome the world, meaning that the worldly things wasn't, or that lower vibration wasn't what ruled. This is why him and God was at one. He was able to vibrate on the same level, okay, or to get a little more detail, he was the manifestation of the thought process, or the invisibleness, which our consciousness, and the manifestation of that is the word. And after the word, then do you have you know, the manifestation that came from a place of non-existence to existence. Get on a simpler level, then vibration is sound, sound is vibration. Vibration is caused by some type of movement, and it's caused by some type of energy. So our conscious and our brains also, and our thoughts also, are energy and vibrations. And then once they come from here and can transfer to here, I don't know the technique or the technical stuff about it, but it works. Come from here to here, it comes out here, then you have the physical manifestation. But if it comes from here and stays in here, doesn't mean it doesn't exist, because you can hear it, you can, and you hear the word and you speak the word. You can hear yourself speak the word. It all stays in here. So in there is where we keep things singular. This is where we do our growth at. So anyway, knowing that that's what we are. That's what Christ is. That's what God is. That's what the Christ consciousness is. Is that um I almost lost my train of thought. That okay, okay. That once we understand that, then we're able to really be free from a lot of things. As I said, we go through and understand the thoughts and the dogma and the indoctrination and other people's perspective and idea on whatever it is still a form of bondage. If you're living your life through fear of going to hell, then you can't be living up under the true love of so-called God. You can't honor and love him with true love in your heart if you are afraid. They're two totally different things. So anyway, being able to take away and go through the scriptures and be able to go through a lot of things and be able to unlock your mind from the BS and be able to enter into what's already there that's yours. So my job is to help you, point you, or to assist you, or to be an example to point you inside yourself and say, this is how I got it. You know, the The who, what, and how is all up to you. I'm a God, you're a God. What type of God is all up inside of you. I can't tell you that. That's up to you to figure out. To love thyself and grow within thyself, and to find out what kind of God that you are. Then you can know what type of how you should handle yourself in that position. So inside of that, you must find out who you are first. Just recognize that you are God and that you are the one that has all the power, and you're pulling all the strings in your life, no matter who or whatever else is involved and who's attached to you in your life. You're pulling all the strings. You're making all the decisions inside of your head, and all the things that happen outside of the decisions that you make are results of you. So understand that, and then once you understand those things, you can actually now be able to look on a better scale. You can see things on a different level, and you can understand who you are. And then once you're in those positioning, you can see how you better fit, or you flourish, or you grow, or you multiply in that position. And in a sense, I would say, like in the Bible, we call them kings or rulers or teachers, so as you're supposed to be a multiplier for the thing for the people, So anyway, once you can find out who you are, as far as you as an individual, who's not who you've been raised to be as a son, and as your daddy has raised you to be a son, if you have one, not saying it in a negative way, or a mother. Um, I use myself, not who my daddy raised me to be, in a sense, and not who my mama raised me to be, or who my sisters expect me to be, not who my grandmothers and grandfathers who's not here no more expect me to be, not who my uncles think I am, or whoever, however, my friends, associate, whoever, whatever. I can't live up to their expectation, and that are theirs inside of their head. I must be who I am. So finding out who I am and what makes me happy, what causes me peace, and what causes me grief, and what I don't like, what I do like, and being able to exercise that with myself first, and then others that's around me, and make them aware of these things, thoughts and feelings, or whatever. So once you find out who you are when you're in those positionings, then can you do greater justice in that position. And then the position isn't looked at, and it's the individual that is looked at. And this is growing to a higher consciousness, I would say, that you're not worried about so much of the position, because God has no respect of person. There is no position that God cares about outside of the position that God takes for himself. And the creation of everything is going to fit that. Even the word that went out, it would not come back forward. It would accomplish everything that it was set out to do. So anyway, and grow, so getting to those points and getting to those levels is where the basis of everything that you're going to need going to go. Everything else going to take care of that. I call that seeking the kingdom of heaven, or that's what I refer to, that I learned through what the Bible was speaking of. That was my concept and my understanding. Seeking thee first, the kingdom of heaven, and all that, right? And all this righteousness and all these things will be added unto thee. So seeking out who you are, dealing with all these things inside of yourself, um, and the good or the bad, dealing with it inside of yourself, and growing within that, and experiencing better, and only taking away the thing that's going to edify you as a better person, and getting that shit and those things that are not. This is also what I would call um, um, putting on your own cross, burdening your own cross. You know, we have to forsake all, mother, father, brother, sister, forsake all for the gospel, his name, sake all for that thing. And once you do that, you'll see how released and how free you are from all these other things. And then what other things that are yours, they'll be attracted back to you. But those that don't come back, they never was. It's another old saying, release and let them go. If they come back to you, if you love them, let them go. If they come back to you, it's yours. If it doesn't, then it never was. But anyway, just in a sense, and everything else as you need for an individual, for you to be the best individual you can, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, you must be in a good position. I'm gonna say healthy, but you got to be in a stable position for that. so as you can be the good person that you are. If you're single, or if you're a father, if you're a husband, if you're whatever, if you're a daughter, if you're a niece, you got to be in those places so as you can be whatever you need to be for those others. Um, So being able to shake everyone else's perspective of you, go search and find out who you are, not who the world might have told you who you are, who you think you should be, or just because of your race, color, or creed, you feel as if you must support, rock, and put all these other things. I would say spend time and find out who you are, find out what you are, and and handle yourself accordingly with that, so as you can be beneficial to yourself and those that are around you, and not um, spend this essence or this life not elevating yourself, not growing. Um, that'll be for another video. I want to talk about another video about the soul and choking soul and some other better soul. But that's on another video. I don't know how long this one is, but I'm about to get off of here. So I want to thank everybody for coming out. Whenever I do upload it, like everyone to like, subscribe, share, comment. Like I say, if you can, if you come across it and you like it, I don't care if you got a profile or not. Leave a one to let me know that you was here. Um, they help me with my analytics as well. That helps me get my get my videos out there. So I do this because I love it as well, but it helps get it out. This is the way YouTube and everything else is made up and set up. So I have nothing to do with that. So the like, subscribe, and the comments and the interaction from you guys when you do browse through, take the time and spend a little of your good energy with me. And I promise you, I believe uh, it'll be cashed out in your life in a good way as well. So until the next time we get on, thank you for joining in the Circle Ministries. Um, Peace, love, prosperity, and extreme wealth to all.